Welcome to the Word for 2021. Today we're in Exodus chapter 26. Here we're learning more about the making of the tabernacle. Now God is giving very specific instructions. As you read through this chapter, you might even think to yourself, it does sound more like an instruction manual than anything else. But God is telling the people that as they put this together, it's going to take time, it's going to take effort, and you're going to need divine skill in order to do it. In verse 30, there's a curtain that they are to make, and this is what it says. Set up the tabernacle according to the plan shown to Moses on the mountain. Make a curtain of blue, purple, and scarlet yarn and finely twisted linen with cherubim worked into it by a skilled craftsman. Hang it with gold hooks on 4 posts of acacia wood overlaid with gold and standing on 4 silver bases. Hang the curtain from the clasps and place the Ark of the Testimony behind the curtain. The curtain will separate the holy place from the most holy place. The most holy place was where the Ark of the Covenant was, and only the high priest could go behind the curtain and then sprinkle the mercy seat with blood, the offering, and then only once a year. In Leviticus chapter 10, there were 2 sons of Aaron that offered strange fire before the Lord. They did not go in a worthy manner. And so what happened? The fire of God came out and consumed their bodies. Later, other men had to go in and pull their bodies out. We cannot go into God's presence any way that we want to. We have to go through His specific instructions. So whenever anyone entered into God's presence, they had to come with reverence, obedience, and fear. Let me talk to you more about this curtain. Josephus talks about the veil that was in the temple when Jesus was on the cross. That veil was 60 feet high, 30 feet wide, and 4 inches thick. It was heavy. Josephus says that it took 300 priests, 300 men, just to hang that curtain, that veil. But when Jesus was on the cross, at the 9th hour, which is 3 in the afternoon, during the time of the evening sacrifice, he yelled out in a loud voice, "It is finished." And at that very moment, the temple curtain was torn in 2 from top to bottom. And now people could see into the most holy place. They could come into God's presence. Before, only the high priest could. But now, we are able to go into God's presence. This is what it says in Hebrews chapter 4. Therefore, since we have a great high priest who has gone through the heavens, Jesus the Son of God, let us hold firmly to the faith that we profess. For we do not have a high priest who is unable to sympathize with our weaknesses. But we have one who has been tempted in every way, just as we are, yet was without sin. Let us then approach the throne of grace with confidence so that we may receive mercy and find grace to help us in our time of need. Jesus, our great high priest, has made the way for us to come into God's presence. The veil has been separated. Now there is no barrier between us and God. The blood of Jesus made the way. Jesus was our perfect sacrifice, and what He did for us on the cross opened the door so that now we could have a relationship personally with God. Sadly, though, many people still want to erect a veil between themselves and God. It happens through a cold heart, through a cold commitment, through faulty faith, or a lost love. In 1896, there was a man by the name of Jordan Van Deventer, and he had erected a veil over his heart. Through cold commitment, through living his life his own way, through losing his first love to the Lord, he was simply going through the motions. But he was singing in the choir one night during a revival in Sharon, Pennsylvania, and God spoke to his heart. He recommitted his life to the Lord, and through that recommitment, he said, I want to give everything I have back to the Lord. I'm going to live for Him. Then he left his own life pursuits and he became an evangelist. He then wrote a song about the commitment that he made that night. The song, I Surrender All. These are some of the words to that song. All to Jesus I surrender, all to Him I freely give. I will ever love and trust Him, and in His presence daily live. All to Jesus I surrender. Lord, I give myself to Thee. Fill me with thy love and power, and let thy blessing fall on me. Now there is no physical barrier keeping us from God. Jesus has made the way. Through faith in Jesus, having Him in control of our life, we can now come boldly into God's presence. Thank you for joining the Word for 2021.